Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Athlete. This is episode number 27. I've just realised that for the last two episodes I didn't actually have the microphone plugged in, so excuse the poor sound. Hopefully it's not too hard to hear me. Today we are going to go through core bracing, keeping our core tight. So pretty much with our core, with our spine, we want to make sure that we keep our spine as straight as possible all the time with any particular movements that we're doing to be able to produce the most power. So the body will work first on trying to stabilize the spine and make sure that's safe. Then we can work on creating stability off other points of our body using torque, which we've spoken about in previous episodes. So first thing with regards to our core, it's not actually just our core which is working to help keep our spine nice and stable. It's actually our upper back and our lats as well, which are working to keep everything tight. So we want to make sure that everything from the hip to the shoulder is kept in one straight line. Any time that they're not kept in one straight line, we're not in an optimal position to produce power, okay? So we want to make sure that we can keep that in a nice straight line. Now, best way to do that. First thing that we want to work on is our core. So what we need to be able to do is it's not just a tensing motion, we're not just tightening up. It's not like we're flexing in the mirror. We're actually pulling our core in to help straighten our spine, and the way we're doing that is we're actually tilting our pelvis back like that into a neutral position, okay? So when we're doing that, instead of being out like this and just having it hard and tense, what we need to do is pull it in like that so that it's nice and straight. So an exercise for you guys that you can actually do is lay on the floor, hopefully you can see me from there, is laying on the floor on your back. It's a bit wet, I'm getting wet for you guys. What we can do is lay on the floor and push that lower back to the floor. So you can do, say, 20 reps of 4 sets of 15. Lower back to the floor, up. Lower back to the floor, up. Okay? And what that's going to do is help you to be able to shift that pelvis backwards and forwards using those lower abdominals and using those obliques, okay? Rather than just relying on these ones at the top. We want to make sure that they are they're working, that pelvis is nice and stable. Anytime we have that pelvis nice and stable, pretty much what that means is our lower back's going to be nice and stable and nice and strong. Anytime during a movement, during a lift, during running, when that breaks, the pelvis tilts forward into an anterior pelvic tilt, that pretty much puts a kink in your spine, puts a lot of pressure on your spine, to all the impact you're taking either through movement, through running, through impact, jumping, is all going bang, bang, bang on that lower back, so it's going to get pretty sore. So number one, I want to make sure that we have this lower back pushed to the floor. So homework for that, you can do 4 sets of 15 every day. That will help you to be able to feel pushing that pelvis backwards and forwards. Now, after we've done that, then when you're lifting, when you're moving, and when you're standing, what you'll find then is we'll have another issue. So you'll be concentrating so much on pulling this forward that everything at the top will start to come forward as well. So you'll have this bit nailed, but you won't have the top nailed, okay? Which is a common issue I see specifically in squatting as well. A lot of people keep this tight, really, really tight, but then they round through the shoulders and pulls their shoulders forward, which puts a lot of stress on their back as well. So they do have their core tight, but the shoulders aren't pulled forward and they're not helping to support the spine. So with our shoulders, with our lats, what we need to do, we need to make sure that these shoulders are kept in a central position the whole time. So like we've spoken about before, the shoulder is a ball and socket. So we have the humerus going up into the shoulder. We want to make sure that these two are in there the whole time. Anytime we pull this shoulder forward, we're actually pulling this out of position, okay? So we want to make sure that it's in there. So anyone who's had shoulder injuries, shoulder surgery, shoulder issues, from training, from any type of movement, and they're not sure why, more than likely you're doing particular movements with this shoulder pulled forward or pulled out, and the weight's just hanging off your shoulder rather than actually having that shoulder in the socket and supported, okay? So if you've got any issues with the shoulder or shoulder ligaments, then that's something that you need to look at, okay? So do a bit of homework on that. Now, with our lats, what we want to do to be able to help stabilize our core, keep our shoulders safe, we want to pull the lats together, and then we want to pull down. So we want to pull together like this, and then we want to pull down at the same time. So when you do that, you should feel that your lats, which is the muscle underneath your armpit, starts to fire up and goes rock hard. When that's rock hard, that means that everything is supported, that your shoulder's going to be in a relatively good position to be able to lift weight without any issues to your back, without any issues to your shoulder joint as well, okay? So working on pulling those shoulder blades together and pulling down. A common fault for that one is that people will just pull the shoulder blades together, they won't pull down. Now when you don't pull down, what that creates is another drama, because now we've got the shoulder being pulled the other way. It's still not in a central position. It's being pulled the opposite way, but it also promotes a hyperextension fault, which is where we are hyperextending through the lower back, and then we start to arch, so push the stomach out. So if we're focusing too much on pulling the lats together, then the stomach will start to come out. We need to pull down, so lats together, down, and then pull this core down like that. So everything is rock hard. So when we're moving, everything's moving as one piece. We're not rounding in like this with the shoulders, okay? So the shoulder should never be pulled forward. That goes for snatching, cleaning, deadlifting, anything you're doing in training, in day-to-day life, everything needs to be pulled back and down and be kept supported in a neutral position. So bit of homework for you this week. So pick a movement, either deadlift, squat, whatever you're doing, maybe during the day, or maybe you're a tradesman, you pick up cement bags or you're picking up stuff all day. Try and keep their shoulders back and pull down and then move. So initiate every movement from the hips, from the knees, rather than from the shoulders. So give that a crack and see how you go.